Hello everyone, so Moses Lenjao here. On today's video, we are with a very special woman, and that is Miss Heidi Munan.
Nice to meet you.
So I've been reading her books since I was a child. My parents usually read her books to me before sleep. When I was in Form 3, she actually wrote a book called How Dalat Got Its Name. It's a total privilege to meet her today. So first and foremost, I want to ask you this question. What inspired you to write all of the heritage and also history about the Sarawak culture?
Well, I've been interested in Sarawak culture since I came here, and that's a long time ago. It was in 1965. When my children were little, my late mother-in-law, she was living with us in Kuching, she used to tell the children stories in the evening.
So your mother-in-law is what?
Iban.
Iban.
Yeah. Well, in those days, we're very lucky. I think there was no TV in Sarawak. So in the evening, children want to hear a story or anything. The grandmother told them a story, or sometimes I told them stories. I would read a storybook. And when Granny told her stories, I quietly write them down. That was the beginning of my collection of folktales. So the book there, the Iban stories, most of those I have from my mother-in-law. Not all, but most of them. But later I started doing research into handicrafts. Any handicrafts I'm interested in, but especially of course beads. And I found when you talk to the old ladies about any anyaman or the noon, anything, any kind of craft, some story comes up. Like when we were in Long Laput, I was looking for the value beads and the names of the beads and the song about beads. And then the Tuaroma started, oh, do you know how beads originally started? I said, well, they come from Venice or somewhere. No, I said, real original beads. And then he told us that story of how the beads came from a magic sort of a pig. You've probably read the story.
Yeah.
He told us that story, which is not much to do with beads, but plenty to do with folklore. And in many cases, people started telling stories which didn't have very much to do with my research, but I learned to pay attention. You have to record it down with a record player, and later on write it down. I do not write the story like invent them, I record the stories. Then I rewrite in what's meant to be decent English and interesting style. But then they're the people's stories, they're not my stories. That's why we call them folktales. This one, it's folktales. It's like everybody's stories. My name is there because I wrote them down. I didn't invent them. It's not fiction.
Where did you came to Sarawak in the beginning, like in 1965?
A young man. My husband had been a Colombo Blend student in New Zealand.
In New Zealand.
So as usual, we met at university, get engaged, and came here to be married to a young man I got engaged to in New Zealand.
When you first came here, like especially when your late mother-in-law was telling the stories, did you understand what she was talking
Well,
about?
by the time she started telling stories to the children, that was about 4 or 5 years later. These newly born baby, you don't tell them stories. When they're 3, 4 years old, that's when they start getting interested in stories. And by that time, I had learned enough Iban to understand what she was talking about. I used to speak Iban fairly fluently, but by now almost forgotten because the old lady has gone. With my husband, I'm more likely to speak English, and my children, they're married and grown up. My son is pretty good at Iban. He came back to Sarawak 5 years ago. They were in New Zealand, they were farming. The young lady, my daughter-in-law, she's from New Zealand too. But when they came back, he started going back to visit his cousins, go to the longhouses. He picked up Iban again very fast. He's good at it now. He can debate, he can discuss, he can do business,
To be honest, I really admire you, like, especially your work. Like me, I'm actually passionate about the culture and heritage of Borneo. What I usually do is I would help my uncle do all the recording.
That
and
is
also do
very important.
Yeah, and also do the videos like this. So just want to ask, what are the message that you can give to the younger generation, especially the younger generation of Sarawak, regarding the culture and heritage?
Well, number one is switch off your handphone and listen to what the old people say. I have heard this from any number of grannies, elderly people, especially in longhouses, saying, well, the young ones don't want to hear what I have to say. Either they're watching TV, or nowadays they're all kick on the handphone. I've been giving talks to schools a few times about collecting heritage. I said, you start by switching off your handphone, then you listen to your grandma. Ask her questions, not necessarily ask her for stories, but say, Grandma, when you were 5 years old, what was it like? Did you go to school? Was there a school? Many places there was no school. And how did you get water? Was there a water tap? No, but the river was very clean. Ask your grandma. Just simple things. And you try to build up a picture of what your ordinary, everyday heritage was like. Not winning the war and bringing home hits and all that kind of stuff, but simple things. What was it like in the memory of grandma? Hey, Granny, what did your mum tell you? What did your grandma tell you? That way you go into the 19th century. If you ask your grandmother what her grandmother told her, you're in the 1880s.
true.
Ask her. Does she remember Pinda? Has the house always been there in Long Laput? Or did they Pinda from somewhere else?
Yeah,
In your great-grandmother's time?
Yeah, true.
How long? You said 12 generations.
Yeah, yeah.
That's more like 1790,
yeah,
1800.
yeah, yeah.
But in the 1880s, did they Pinda from one place to another? The Ibans Pinda a lot more than the Orangulu. Orangulu built very solid long houses. That's where we stay. Nobody cut us, okay? They built a solid house,
Yeah.
and they always built a house where there is enough farming land around. You can farm in a cycle, usually it's a 14-year cycle. You don't have to go somewhere else to look for more farmland. Iban were more likely to move around. Ibans just love nudging into other people's area.
Yeah.
I know. Look at the Tinjar. The Tinjar is full of Ibans now. There were no Ibans there in 1900. They moved in between 1920 and I suppose 1950, 60. During World War II, a whole lot of them moved up there because the Japanese didn't stop them. The Japanese said you can do whatever you like, just don't cut your ass, okay? Ibans were likely to give trouble, so you let them do what they like. They're okay. The Raja always told the Iban, you mustn't move, you've got to stay where you are, don't move, don't disturb other people. The Japanese didn't. During the war, a whole lot of people from Saribas, they charter sailboats from the Malays and go up the Tinjar. Those kind of stories I've got documented. Now the Tinjar is full of Ibans. We were talking with some elderly couple, one uncle of my husband's and some other people, who lived in the Tinjar since he was a small boy, but he remembered the Pinda in about 1943, 44, like that. And we were talking about art motifs on mats, I think it was. Next thing you know, we started about this, well, what happened during Museum Jipun and all this and that. And they said, oh, yeah, that's when we went up to Tinjar, and nobody stopped us because the Raja has run away. The other Angmo are locked up in Batulinta. We can do what we like. And they do.
So that is all from us today. So thank you for watching and
Well,
thank you.
thank you. What's your name?
Moses.
Moses, okay.
Moses Lenjao.
Moses did a bit of Pinda too.
Yeah.
He went from Egypt all the way back
Yeah,
to
true.
Israel.
Yeah, true.